Welcome to this episode of Women at Halftime, where we explore the timely and the transformative topic of reinventing work, wealth, and meaning mid-career. And this podcast is all about helping you move forward, maximizing your skills, your resources, and your experience at mid-career halftime of life. And in today's conversation, Greg will be interviewing me about some of what I've written about in my new book, Power of After. And we dive into what it really takes to navigate the pivotal transitions that come at the halftime of life and also at this period of time in our world's history. From redefining success and purpose to embracing new tools and technologies that support modern lifestyle businesses. Well, this episode, it explores how to build a future aligned with your values and your strengths. So whether you're ready for your next chapter or you're just beginning to ask what's possible, this discussion offers real-world strategies and inspiration to move forward with clarity and purpose and courage also. So stay tuned. This podcast is brought to you by DJ Works Media and HalftimeSuccess.com, offering resources and insights for those at mid-career or the halftime of life. Explore our diverse categories, including courses, coaching, health, music, software, and travel. We're here to help you make this stage of life your best ever. So get our new articles, downloads, and podcasts by signing up for weekly updates at goalsforyourlife.com/newsletter. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Well, hello, everyone. So happy to have Greg with me today. Greg is with me once a month, and we come on these podcasts. And so I planned a couple of them with the interviews for this new book I'm coming out with, Power of After, which I'm very excited about. It just has so much for those who are entering their next stage of life. And, it's not over.
Right.
Yeah, we hope it's not over. Anyway, you had some great questions, and Greg's a great conversationalist, a wonderful interviewer. So I thought it would be fun. I don't know quite everything that you're going to expand on here.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's see. So
Deb's written a new book, The Power of After. And so why don't we get started with, what do you mean by after? You've talked about stepping into what's next.
What's next?
So how does that tie into rediscovering yourself?
Yeah.
Does it mean stopping what you're doing? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't really even mean that you have to stop what you're doing. It can mean that you can kind of reformat it a little bit, reinvent a little bit. There's just, it's the next stage of life. Usually people get to, it's after age 40, 45. That's officially like halftime as far as the internet says. And you're going, okay, wow, I've been doing one thing for all of this time. Do I want to keep doing that? Do I want to do something else? Maybe you've had a lifelong dream of something that you're doing. Or maybe you might want to continue working your same job, but kind of redefine it a little bit. Maybe do it, a little bit different, or start a little side business. You don't even have to start, a whole thing.
So
or, yeah.
What would this look like? Let's say you were going to ease into it, so you can continue to do whatever you're good at, experienced at, plateaued at. What would the after look like?
The after would be defining the type of lifestyle you want, first of all. I did this for us and for me, not for us, but for me mostly, but also it affects us.
Sure.
Because I've done a lot of travel for my business too, with entertaining and now with speaking and with all of that. So I wanted to these are the travel years for us. We're on the train. Okay. So we've lost our parents. We're on the train. And we wanted to do some travel just for us. And part of our travel is to see our kids.
Yeah.
Around the country. So I wanted a business, which this is how I've formatted my business, to be able to work from anywhere. And it's not just remote work, it's automated work. So I can schedule everything and really be freed up. I've been freed up when we're in South Africa, with Iceland, with Tuscany. Things are going out. Podcasts are going out. I'm able to still market, have content go out. This is my 7th book. I'm still able to create. I can spend time writing,
Yeah.
and putting out more music as well. So I continue. We had one of our sons ask
Okay.
us. Yeah.
So all that sounds fun
Uh-huh.
for you,
Yes, it
but
does.
how would somebody transition without burning themselves and their families out?
That's a good question. Really, I say spend enough time thinking through this.
What do you mean?
Journaling, putting down, I have what's called the core common denominator,
Mm-hmm.
putting down what your skills are, especially soft skills. Those are very important.
What are
Your,
soft skills?
your soft skills are the relational skills, the customer service skills, relating to people, how to mediate situations. This is what experience gets you, because you've probably heard it all, you've seen it all, you've in so
Yeah,
many
you
areas.
lived through it all.
You've lived through it all, and those are very valuable. AI will not take over all of those. It just can't, and those are very, very valuable. Affirming those, really deciding what kind of lifestyle you want. The lifestyle I want is not just sleeping in every day. It's, I don't do
Right.
that.
No.
I get up early. But the type of lifestyle is freedom. It's financial freedom as well. How do you develop how do you develop all of those things in your life so you can be freed up, maybe to pursue something else? I mean, I'm reading a book right now on like selling shoots of houseplants. I mean, there's people that just want to do these little things, or a wall garden. I mean, they want to do something like creative. I've known so many that say, "Oh, someday I want to do my music." Oh, we know those people.
Right.
They're doing little bands now. They're out doing
That
their
is
thing.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun. So define. You might not want to or be able to totally quit what you're doing now, but you can define maybe the hours, or have you're probably very, very valuable
Yeah.
in what you're doing. And
Uh,
so you have to, at this point, you have to decide.
So,
Yeah.
based on what we've talked about, I'm guessing there's mindsets that would hold you back from. On the one hand, you're aware that you've got these skills,
Mhm,
this experience,
mhm.
but on the other hand, there's probably a zillion self doubts. So, how do you overcome those in order to get to a place where
Mhm.
you're trying something new?
I mean, again, that takes taking a step back, getting some perspective,
Right.
and having that healthy mindset. And it's harder, because we can. I've known people that are so great in their field, and they're still dealing with imposter syndrome,
Mhm.
feeling like, okay, is anybody going to believe me? And I remember the first time I really heard this as much was I was teaching a music business class at a college. And so I had some colleagues come in, and some band members I had worked with, and had them come in, and speak. And afterwards, they said, "Do you think they'll believe us? Do you think they'll really? I mean, do you think we fooled them?" I mean, that's a really big feeling.
Huh.
Do you think we fooled them? And I mean, Tom Hanks goes through the same thing. There's just, you think, well, you've arrived. No, some of the most beautiful models, gorgeous,
Still have self doubts?
self doubt. So really, it takes stepping back, and especially as we approach AI, because I've talked to some of those that are going, "Oh, I'm just afraid of it." Because all of you, you kind of watch those movies with all of those robots going like, it's like Star Wars. Okay, so you walk into that one Star Wars thing, and you see all of those, they're lined up, all of the white, clones, they're all alike, and you're going, "Oh, that's what's going to take over our world. It's going to take over my life." No. So not being afraid of that, but understanding, and I do approach that in the book, understanding what's behind it at least. So you can, it's just like a calculator, understanding, well, it's just going to do the job. Don't be afraid of it. Be able to use it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if we can use it, if we can overcome the mindsets, what are some tools that'll help us get started?
Well, some tools are being able to define some of your skills.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, your skills. Okay. I've known those that have kind of touted all these skills, and I'm thinking, have you looked in the mirror lately? So
Have you got a tool that'll help
yes,
people figure that out?
that's my core common denominator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, defining your skills, and then your experience, because you might be discounting some of your experience. There's a lot of experience. I was discounting my experience. Because I was thinking, oh, I didn't come from the corporate world. How am I going to ever speak to a corporate audience? Well, I have negotiated amazing things with stage crews, there's been a lot of negotiation going on that I've had to do in the arts, and running showcase rooms for 4 years across the country.
Uh-huh.
Talk about negotiations. There's a lot of that with working with artists,
right.
And producing my musicals, working with actors. That's a whole different set. So,
and how hard was it for you to become aware that you were pretty good at negotiating? You didn't wake up one night and go,
no,
I'm a really good negotiator.
No. In fact, I have to reread my journals to really realize.
Oh,
yeah, I wrote that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm starting to do that more now, even. To be honest, you'd think,
the reason I asked
together.
That was you didn't have your core common denominator thing. You had to make that up. So
I had to make that.
So that must have been the process you went through, seeing in that.
The process I went through, and then you can imagine on that last step and imagine your ideal lifestyle. Yeah, that's my trademarked. It's one of my trademark products. Yes.
So can AI help us at this stage, or is it too much to learn?
No, AI can help us at this stage. AI will build upon what you put in. It will build upon the data that you put in. So it learns as you go along. If I use a new AI tool, it doesn't know me as much as I use ChatGPT, probably most from the AI tools.
Now, is ChatGPT a website we go to, or is it an app we download onto our computers?
It's actually a website that you go to. Okay. Yeah. Now, DeepSeek, okay, I'll get a little technical here. DeepSeek, you can actually download the software, so then nobody can see, because you're going to know, what, the future with that. So, but DeepSeek is a little bit different that way. So, but ChatGPT is an online ChatGPT.com. Yes.
And have you found it helpful?
I found it extremely helpful as a writing partner, as it'll rephrase things. In fact, I use some of the illustrations in the book, Power of After, because it will rephrase different paragraphs or different sections and say, well, give me another way of saying the same thing, but and it'll do illustrating for me, a little bit of illustrating. You have to pick and choose. And then when you do research, you always, always, always need to check sources. The same thing with Google. Make sure they're coming from viable sources, not just from, podcasts or from a blog. Yes,
now,
definitely.
Does that help you create this lifestyle business platform that you've developed?
That's helped me expand it.
Oh.
And it will also, it depends on the content that you put in it, about what it's going to give you back. It's just like, a Google search. If you narrow down your search, you're going to get more specific answers. The same thing works with AI tools. And as it gets to know, that's the beauty about some of this AI tools, because it works so fast, and it builds upon what you've put in as well. So
we've talked about reinventing ourselves in work a little bit. Something you talk about in your book is reinventing wealth. What do you mean by that?
Reinventing wealth. There's freedom in an attitude, and also just getting out of debt. The debt ratio right now, with credit card debt, with all everybody's our nation, our United States, people in our country are carrying, it's not just the country that's carrying debt, it's individuals, it's families, and it's not just from inflation. It's from the extras. You've always said, we've done podcasts together about this. And so I've learned a lot from you. The biggest expenses you have are your house and your car.
Right.
Okay. But people get in, went through, actually, I've known some people who went through that last recession who were bragging about, oh, look at that, just house. I just bought my dream home and all of this. And I'm thinking, you're teaching step aerobics and watching kids during the day. And it was like, that's more expensive than the house that we bought. And we were both working. Oh my gosh. She lost it. I mean, so many people did because they got in over their heads. And part of that was the banks were giving them the money. But part of this is figuring out a way. And I try to approach this in some of the podcasts and some of the guests, and of course with you too, being able to get out of debt enough to create freedom, because you have so much more freedom.
Yeah.
You have freedom to experiment.
So if you're not deeply in debt,
yes,
and needing every paycheck in order to make your debt payments,
right,
then you'd have the freedom to think about whatever's after.
Exactly, because it takes
That makes sense.
the pressure off. I mean, if I buy a new tool and something, I experiment a lot, of course. And especially with some of the startups and, going through, and I give a little bit of that information in this book about, some of the process that I go through, because I think it's really important for me to explain process.
Oh, yeah.
How I go through making a decision on different, and some of them just don't work out as much as others. But again, I can take that risk.
Well, and a good process is always replicable.
Yeah.
So if you learn the process, you can apply it to lots of different decision-making opportunities.
And that's what I've tried to do in this book, is because nobody's business is going to look like mine. Yours is going to be totally different.
Right.
You may not even want to do remotely what, I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it opens up possibilities.
Yeah.
And I'm a creative at heart. Okay. So that's my, I will never quit creating until the boys put put me in a home. Maybe they'll put me in before you. I don't know. But, it's, that's what I love to do. There's always ideas, always things moving forward. So, but some people have been waiting their whole career to be creative, or they want to do something. They just want to slow down a little bit. I was talking to somebody, this last week, and I said, part of this is, you're looking forward to retirement, but after the first couple days, what then? She says, I sort of worry about that.
Right. Another mindset. Yeah.
Yeah. It's another mindset of wondering, okay, I think I want to retire and stuff, but then what am I going to really do? So we have a friend, in fact, one of our friends, I had a wonderful talk with her. She was an eye doctor for years. And she went on some trips and started collecting eyeglasses to be able to give them to some of the needy countries. And she'd go and fit them with eyeglasses. How wonderful. And now she says, I'm doing something I've always wanted to do, because she's officially retired from that. And she's working with these foster, like, teenagers. And she said, they don't have life skills. So at all. And so, she's trying to teach them relational skills and some of this, yeah. She says, I've always wanted to do this. And she said, I'm amazed. I mean, there's so much need in that area. She can donate her time. She can work when she wants.
She can use her experience, her expertise.
A wonderful experience. And I know of her and her husband, they are traveling a lot.
Yeah.
We can hardly find a time to play pickleball with them. So, but they are traveling a whole lot.
One of the things about her business, though, is, she has to show up.
Yes.
You've talked a lot about trying to develop a business that continues to make money even when you're not present.
Yes.
So why is that valuable to you, and how do you do it?
Well, especially for me, because I am a creative artist. So I have music, I have sheet music out there, I have licensing. Books usually make a little, not a lot, but I've known for years because I've been into creative arts and I've done so many albums. A lot of times those albums have not just paid off in sales, but they've paid off in engagements, like multiple times, because I will sell them at engagements, but I will also be able to get future engagements. And so that's what books a lot of times do. And you can provide them, at a discount which I do as well for engagements. You can provide your books at a discount. And as part of the package for people leaving with something that's, wonderful.
Right.
So yeah, your business may look totally different, but I am all into residual income that works while I'm sleeping. But not everybody's going to have that sort of creative gene, but you will have something.
So at this stage of our lives, though, doing something like our eye doctor friend is doing, where you feel like you're giving back or that you're fulfilling a sense of purpose.
Yes.
How do you blend pursuing purpose and having a residual income? Does the pursuit of residual income trump purpose, or is it the other way around, that purpose drives the residual income?
That is a great question.
That's why you have me on the podcast.
I know. Yeah, you always find a little area to really kind of dig deeper, which I love, because it really does make me think. I think there's a hand in hand, because in part of what I'm doing with providing content, a lot of my actual content is encouraging. And it's providing, like I did a whole album of sheet music, and I provided the sheet music, provided the recordings and background tracks for those that used to play piano and want to play again. Okay, so that was the purpose of doing that, to provide enjoyment, to provide, and some of those people now that have not played for years are picking it up again.
Right.
Yeah, and so because I can play this, or I can do so. It's still building into people.
Yeah.
It's still entertaining for me. Was that way too? Building into people, the encouragement of people. It was just such a great feeling. I did educational shows as well.
So if we sum that up, you'd say that the purpose comes first, because it's the driver that stimulates you to want to create whatever this after is.
Yes.
And then once you start to pursue it, the next thing is come up with a model that provides residual income. And, for music, for those who are in the second half of life, you've got a website and you've got music that they can purchase. They can, I think, take online lessons.
Yes.
So the business model comes after the pursuit of the purpose.
Yeah. Purpose really should, and your mission. And even before purpose is really thinking through your core values. What do you really value in life? Do you value time? Do you value time with family? Do you value your faith? There's a lot of things to that core values. I've written about this in my book, Stop Circling. You can see that picture behind me if I moved the right way, if you're watching the video. But that value, it lights a fire under your purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I think that's important to realize that all of a sudden you're just not going to go, oh, here's my purpose. Oh, that you're
having a reason to wake up in the morning when you, especially when you're retired.
Yes.
Is super important. So,
yeah. And I think that's very, very important. I'll tell you a little secret. A lot of women, and they talk to me about this. They say, I'm really nervous when my husband retires. What is he going to do? Is he going to sit around the house?
Okay, so you guys can email me and find out what she says about me.
No, I'm going to actually, you keep busy.
Okay.
So, but it's part of the reason I wanted to be able to bring you in once a month as well, because this podcast is entitled Women at Halftime, but it's not just for women. There's men that listen to this. There's men that need to listen to this. And because this is all about mid-career halftime of life, it was just easier to brand that way. But it's very, very important to say, okay, well, I mean, it could be golf. It can be other things in your life, but it's not going to be only that because there's other areas that you can give to. We're a part of
life's a lot broader.
Yeah, we've got organizations that we're a part of, and that's part of this time of life too. It doesn't have to be just a business. It can be really giving yourself to an organization, or like the foster kids. Like Anne's not. I shouldn't have said her name, but anyway, she's not after just making money right now. No, they're doing okay.
Right.
Her husband's playing in a band. How fun that is. And she's, doing these things, and then they're traveling, and they're, so she's not putting a system together like this, but what she's done is move ahead with a healthy mindset, knowing what she always wanted to do. And so this book is an encouragement for those to not be afraid of that step, especially with the progression of AI and with all of the, the tools available right now. People are a little afraid of that.
Yeah.
This, oh no, there's this big bad boogeyman going out there. No, it's not.
Yeah. And I love the title, Power of After, because it's kind of like you're wanting to empower people to have the freedom to think beyond the now and what happens after.
Yeah.
So with that thought in mind, how do you want to wrap this up? Is there anything we didn't cover that you'd love to talk about?
No, that was great, because we're going to do another interview, and I'm sure you'll think of other things on this. But I wanted to just expand when you said the power of after.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why I chose the book cover that I chose as well, with the mountain, because that's another one of my products is Hero Mountain. And I talk a lot about that in my Women at Halftime book and the stages of that. But I wanted a mountain with a sun shining, and at the summit of it. That's another book I wrote called The Summit. But I wanted that there's a future. It's not like unreachable. And so I wanted that visual, that happy visual that is shining for the future. So yeah. So that was the
power after. So if I was going to ask you, what's next? Or one of our listeners was going to ask, what's next? Probably the place to start is read your book.
Yes.
and discover what can be after.
What can be after, yes. And you always tell me, slow down a little bit. I know I have another project, but no, slow down. No, but this message it's so important. New way of doing business, new way of looking at your next chapter of life. So thanks so much, everyone, for being with us today. This was so much fun. And we're just, it's fun to be together. It's fun to do these interviews, and you get this glimpse of an amazing interviewer here. So thank you. You'll continue laughing about that. So thank you again. Make sure you're getting our newsletter, goalsforyourlife.com/newsletter. I have several different websites. You can get there, any of those places. So, but just make sure you get our updates, because there's articles every single week that come out, and podcasts, of course, that come out. So thanks so much for joining us, and I'll look forward to being with you again next time. So bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. It is because of our wonderful listeners like you that we keep going strong week after week. We'd love it if you'd share and follow us to not miss a single show, and even write a review. You can also find all of our articles, products, and links at womenathalftime.com.